On April 28, 2000, just before sunset, a lone diver entered the water at the Blue Hole near Dahab, Egypt. Within minutes, he would be sinking uncontrollably into darkness, past safe limits, past reason, past help. By 5:11 p.m., the Red Sea had swallowed him whole. What makes this death different from the dozens before it is not only how fast it happened, but that every second of the descent was recorded from inside his mask. This is the story of how one routine-looking dive became Egypt's most infamous underwater fatality, and why this place keeps claiming lives. The site is known simply as the Blue Hole, a massive submarine sinkhole sitting only a few meters from shore along the Red Sea coast. From the surface, it looks inviting. Clear water, coral near the rim, sunlight reaching deep enough to give a false sense of safety. Beneath that calm surface, the hole drops steeply to more than 100 meters, then continues down a sheer wall into depths measured in hundreds more. Over the years, it has earned a grim reputation as a diver's cemetery. Nearby is Dahab, a laid-back beach town that draws divers from around the world. Among the local professionals is Tarek Omar, a technical diver who has earned the grim nickname the Bone Collector. Since the late 90s, he has been the man called to pull the remains of the Blue Hole's victims back to the surface. He treats every call as a rescue until proven otherwise, but experience has taught him the odds. That April afternoon, the diver was Yuri Lipski, 22 years old, recently arrived on vacation. He was a certified instructor, confident in the water, and carrying his own equipment. Yuri had dreamed of diving the Blue Hole for years. He asked around town for a partner to accompany him on a deep technical dive. Every experienced diver he approached refused. The reasons were simple. He had only been in Dahab for 2 days, lacked specialized gas mixtures, and wasn't carrying redundant air. Weeks of preparation are standard for dives like this. Yuri decided to go anyway. That decision would define the next 7 minutes, and it would leave behind a video that experts still struggle to watch today. At around 5 p.m., Yuri entered the water. A small camera was strapped to his head, recording from his perspective. Other divers were nearby, some hovering casually, others descending along the inner wall. Fish and coral were still visible. The water was bright, calm. You can imagine being there with him, the sun rippling above as bubbles drift upward. At first, everything looks normal. Yuri adjusts his camera, checks his surroundings, then begins moving deeper, following the slope of the hole. Gradually, the crowd thins. Divers peel off and stop. Yuri keeps going. At 10 meters, the pressure doubles. At 30 meters, air becomes noticeably denser. Yuri is breathing regular compressed air, fine for recreational limits, dangerous beyond them. Every breath pushes more nitrogen into his bloodstream. The change is subtle. Nitrogen narcosis doesn't announce itself. It feels like confidence, like clarity. The Blue Hole's shape works against him. The walls funnel inward as depth increases, creating the illusion of slower descent. Without actively monitoring his depth, it's easy to drop far faster than intended. The light dims from blue to gray, then to a deep, muted indigo. The seabed isn't really a bottom at all, just a sloping ledge that leads to open nothing. As Yuri continues down, the camera captures fewer reference points. No fish, no coral, just darkness and the faint outline of rock. Somewhere below, bubbles rise from divers far deeper than he should be. Yuri follows them. This is the quiet danger of the Blue Hole. There's no current, no violent pull, nothing to fight against except physics. And by the time your mind realizes something is wrong, your body may already be incapable of fixing it. And then, a critical failure begins to unfold. At around 80 meters, double the recommended maximum for air, Yuri's buoyancy becomes unstable. He is carrying significant weight, including a heavy lead belt. The deeper he goes, the less effective his buoyancy control device becomes. Suddenly, he begins to sink faster than intended. You sense the shift immediately. The camera angle tilts downward. The walls slide past more quickly. Yuri tries to slow himself, kicking harder. It doesn't work. He reaches for his buoyancy inflator. Air hisses into the vest, but the surrounding pressure is immense. The added air barely helps. Nitrogen narcosis is now severe. Decision-making degrades. Panic replaces calculation. Yuri inflates the vest again, and again. Then the buoyancy compensator ruptures. In an instant, trapped air blasts out. The only mechanism that could have lifted him is gone. The camera shakes as Yuri flails, trying to swim upward against his own weight. The surface is no longer visible. The water around him is almost completely black. He drops the final meters helplessly. At approximately 91 meters, nearly 300 feet, Yuri hits the bottom face down. The impact kicks up silt. The camera records his labored breathing, each inhale louder and more frantic than the last. He tries to move. His body barely responds. At 5:11 p.m., the recording stops. From entry to bottom, less than 8 minutes have passed. But the mystery of what happened in those final seconds was only just beginning. When Yuri doesn't resurface, other divers begin to notice. 40 minutes pass. There is no delayed ascent, no decompression stop. Everyone understands what that means. Word spreads quickly along the shore. Tariq Omar is contacted. By the time he arrives, hope is already thin. Still, he prepares as if for a rescue. The blue hole is vast, and locating a single diver at depth is dangerous work. On the first day, Tariq surveys the site. It takes hours. Eventually, he finds Yuri. The body is motionless, lying exactly where the camera last pointed, face down on the seabed. Death was not recent. There is nothing to be done. The following day, Tariq returns, this time to recover the body. It is the deepest recovery he has ever attempted. The risks are enormous, but leaving Yuri there is not an option. Challenges mount from here, but the answers are already waiting on the bottom. During recovery, the evidence becomes clear. Yuri is wearing far too much weight for such a dive. His buoyancy vest is torn open from overinflation. He entered the water with only a single 12-liter air cylinder, no backup. Tariq also retrieves the camera. He assumes it's destroyed. The model is only rated to 75 meters. At 91 meters, survival seems impossible for both diver and device. Days later, after coordinating with authorities, Tariq learns the camera still works. The footage is intact. The video confirms what the equipment already suggested: excessive weight, catastrophic buoyancy failure, and acute nitrogen narcosis. But knowing the cause does not lessen the weight of what comes next. Yuri's parents are in Dahab. His mother receives her son's belongings, including the camera. Tariq has said that if he had known the footage survived, he would have destroyed it himself. Because while the world saw a cautionary tale, he saw a young man's last moments of pure, unadulterated terror. Some images, once seen, never leave. Yuri's body was returned to his family. His mother had the camera and its contents given back with the rest of his gear. She viewed the footage. The recording has since circulated widely in the diving community as a stark warning about pushing limits without proper preparation. In the days and weeks that followed, the Blue Hole claimed no pause in its reputation. Memorial plaques continued to appear along the cliff edge. One of the most visible honors, Yuri Lipski, October 1st, 1977 to April 28th, 2000, with a simple message from his mother: "You will always be with us."